current dairy program began in 2010 with the purchase of Marmalade and Josephine. Construction of the dairy barn was completed in 2011. This space allows for safe and sanitary working conditions for both cows and humans. Luda and Ish have been working with these animals for over 7 years, and in the past 2 have taken on the management of the dairy program. What is your top priority for the program?
Definitely to provide what, needs community has, but also to ultimately provide a relationship of respect and love for the animals that are giving us all these products and benefits, and to not have it just be like we're humans manipulating other beings to our own needs, which I feel like a lot of people feel like that about livestock handling in general, and I don't agree that it has to be that way.
The folks doing this on a small scale and providing their own milk and really loving these animals is, I think, one of the most beneficial things you can do for grasslands. Essentially, what I'm doing with the animals is trying to simulate a herd of buffalo.
Intensive grazing techniques are used, but it hasn't always been this way, and the program continues to evolve.
That's what built the dairy program that we currently have, is those people that were here during that time period, and all the interactions and us figuring stuff out, the fighting, the crying, the hanging out. We all love each other, but it was a lot of us, and it was a lot of animals and a lot of stress. And we don't even have milk goats anymore. We ran those sheep and stuff this year, and that was cool, but a whole other milking animal on top of the dairy at a community this size is pretty intense. So
I ended up coming back, and I was real excited that we had a dairy program and all this stuff going on down here that wasn't going on last time I lived here. So it's like, okay, I'll leave, take PM leave, and finish school, and then think about it. And so I did that and decided not to go to graduate school. So I was like, I can just come here and do all the stuff I want. So that's what I did.
Ish and Luda have learned a lot, and with the help of others, they are able to continue building the program.
That's what we have right now. We have good milkers, and I'm very appreciative of that, but what we're lacking right now is like the rancher side of the people that like pounding in T-posts and building fences and all, and that's where I'm fixing fences every day right now, that's what I'm doing, and that's cool. I like doing it, but it sways back and forth.
I'm just happy to get the help down here when it's needed and get people to milk and just do the basic simple things, and then me and my partner Luda kind of absorb the stresses and responsibilities of making sure everything's set up for anybody who does want to come help.
Yeah, it's just, if somebody wants to come here,
but somebody else has got to do it.
Wants to start a program we don't have, that's definitely a possibility, and that's how most things here get started anyway. Just having people who are really into it and are going to plan it out and make a budget and follow through, show us that they can be consistent in doing those chores, and the more you show that, the more people are going to trust you.
Running a dairy is a multifaceted enterprise, and in the past year, Luda has taken to cheese making to help process excess milk.
I definitely have more insight into the quality of the cow's diet in different times of year and on different days, because I can see how the milk acts when I process it. So it's actually given me a lot of insight into the dairy management. The dairy processing needs a lot of help because it's only a few people doing it right now.
For those who want to learn, there's plenty of room for experimentation.
The great thing is if you mess something up, the pigs are going to be happy, the chickens are going to be happy, so you're not really just throwing anything out.
There are lots of different ways of plugging in here, and if you're wary of our large bovine friends, consider this.
Actually, a lot of the milkers we have were initially afraid of working with cows until they started milking, got familiar with the cows, and kind of overcame that. So even if you're afraid of cows, our cows are not scary, and it's still possible. I was afraid of cows before I started working with our cows. So.
Me too.
Even if you have zero experience, this is a great place to learn all sorts of things. Whether you want to run your own animal program, or you just want to enjoy some homemade cheese, you can make it a reality at East Wind.
The goal isn't to harvest an animal, the goal is to keep the animal alive and healthy for as long as possible. You start developing relationships with these animals, and I love each one individually. They all have their own personalities, they're extremely smart, and they're providing us with such a nutrient-dense food, and it just keeps coming, and it just keeps coming, and the grass just keeps growing.
You know, but ultimately we've sacrificed the connection with our food and being involved in producing it to a more efficient system, which might be necessary, but I feel like we have the opportunity to do it differently and to be really connected with our food, and I feel like that's a large, like, common goal of a lot of people who live in community is to have that connection with our food and with our land, and to manage kind of a full cycle program, you know, because ultimately it all goes back into our land. Come on up! Come on!
I hope you've enjoyed this video. I myself have been milking cows for 3 years now and very much enjoy this work. If you want to see what the milking shifts are like, you can click on the video in the top right. The bottom right is about cheese making. The bottom left is YouTube's recommendation. And the top left is this channel's latest video. Have a good one, eh?
The word heifer and Hereford together.
I thought in that case it was a
Hereford.
I thought it was a Hereford heifer.
It was
I thought it was a Hereford heifer.
It was.
Okay, well, close enough.